Hey guys, it's Will here from the Godly Young Men podcast. This was going to be the first ever pre-show announcement. Unfortunately, it's kind of a bummer announcement. Went to edit the video for this week's Godly Young Men podcast. Had a bit of an issue with our audio. I'm not really sure what happened. We're still kind of looking into it. But long story short, my audio for my mic was great, but Joe's audio, something went wrong. So it was almost like his microphone was on mute, or it was just not plugged in, or something that was just completely our mistake. So I wanted to let you guys know that as you listen to this episode, our sincerest apologies for the lower quality audio. When you listen to me, mine will sound crisp. It'll sound just like normal, but when you listen to Joe, it's definitely... you're going to be able to tell it's not the same audio quality. There's going to be several spots where essentially I had to raise Joe's audio volume all the way up while keeping mine at a normal kind of lower level, and so it'll fluctuate a little bit. Again, our apologies. We still wanted to bring you this episode. We thought about just not posting an episode this week and then getting back to it next week, but we wanted to bring you guys an episode this week, and so we're still going to put it out. We're still going to post it, and hope you enjoy it. About top 10 entertainment products to avoid, but our apologies, our sincerest apologies for the poorer, lower quality audio standards for this week. We'll be back to normal next week. So thank you guys so much for listening and supporting the podcast. We appreciate it.
Welcome into episode 118 of the Godly Young Men podcast. Today we want to talk about entertainment choices. We know that we're all going to be entertained at some point. We don't think entertainment is wrong by any stretch. We know Paul enjoyed the games. He talks about those things. We know that entertainment is not anti-biblical. So, okay, we get that. On the other hand, there are certain entertainment choices we believe every godly young man should just avoid at all costs.
Just say no to completely. Yeah, this should be a fun episode. So one of the things, just fun fact about me, whenever I don't have a ton of time to do this, but if ever I'm got some time on my hands, I'm got my YouTube algorithm or whatever. Some of the things that populate for me are like, top 10 list type of things, or here's things that, ranking movies or stuff like that I just kind of enjoy stuff like that. And I got to thinking for this episode, like, what if we did, because I've seen other people do stuff like this, like top 10 list of entertainment products that Christians should avoid type of thing. And so that's what we're kind of doing with this list. And I'm glad Joe started the way he did, which is to say, like, and I'll just speak for myself here, I love entertainment. I really do enjoy entertaining myself with a Netflix show, with a movie, I love music. Sports is also entertainment. Love that, of course. And so hear us out when we say we are not anti-entertainment. There's a lot of people that are like, throw your TV away and get a flip phone and cancel your Netflix, only listen to a cappella music. That's not us. Like, we're not going to be telling you those things whatsoever. Obviously, if you struggle with, stuff, then maybe you should. But, like, we're not on that train. But, as Joe already spoke to, we have a list of 10 things here that, listen, we're just going to say, if you're a godly man, just say no to it. Just completely avoid it. Again, we're not saying cancel everything and turn on, again, only listen to a cappella music. Not at all, but we think, so for this list, we've got a couple movies, couple shows, couple apps, just a top 10 list of things for Christian young men, godly young men, of course, probably all people, but specifically for this podcast, godly young men, to just say no to.
There are principles underlying these.
Yeah.
We should be able to apply these to a lot of different things. This is not an exhaustive or extensive list in terms of like, here's everything you should avoid. No, we want to know how to think about these things, and you can make some judgment calls and say, okay, well, maybe there's a little more cussing than I like, or whatever it is, I'm going to avoid this one, that one. Some other people might have an open conscience. These are ones that, like, I don't care where your conscience level is.
Yeah, there's just no excuse for these.
There's no excuse. And that's why we did this. You might look at this and go, some of these, like, that dates you a little bit, right? This is because these are big things, big movies, big TV shows that are kind of...
right now,
in the public, very open forum right now, or they have been in the past, and it's just one of those that everybody kind of talks about, oh, you got to go see this one. No, avoid these at all costs. So we're going to start... Two of these are apps, actually. We're going to start with one app. You know where we stand on it. Absolutely no on TikTok.
Number 10 is TikTok.
Number 10, TikTok. Not a big fan, in the least. And it's not just like, okay, well, we're not big fans. Well, we don't enjoy it. We know other people do. There are a number of reasons why I think godly young men should avoid TikTok. At the very least, time-wasting purposes.
Well, it's just bad for your brain, too.
It's just bad. The addictive element of constant stimulation and scrolling, it's very difficult to get off of. It does rewire your brain. It makes for short attention spans. This doesn't go into any of the problem of, as soon as you put your birth date in, they know, oh, you're a male who is 15 years old, 20 years old, 25 years old. Isn't that interesting? Guess what they're going to throw you in your suggested feed?
It's
Instagram
the
does
Explore
same
tab,
thing.
yeah.
In the Explore tab, like TikTok is known for this.
Yeah.
Where young men all of a sudden start getting some hot female, and it's like, wow, I didn't ask for this. And if you linger, talked about it before, but if you linger for 3 seconds, it knows, oh, wow, you lingered for a little while.
Let me feed a little bit more, yeah.
More and more. So you have to be so dialed in on your TikTok and making sure you scroll past super fast that it doesn't think you like it, that if you linger for 2 seconds, man, it's going to know,
Yeah.
okay, well, I better send more of this, and it makes it really difficult.
TikTok's really bad. I mean, I know a lot of our listeners probably are on TikTok, and this may not sway you whatsoever. Hopefully, a lot of these do sway you, because a lot of this stuff is really, really bad. And TikTok, you can say, oh, well, it's not all bad. And you're right, it's not all bad. We just are firm believers that it is the cost-benefit analysis. The cost is far higher than the benefit is on this. And so, and listen, this might apply to, if you just scroll Instagram Reels all day, then maybe you should delete Instagram too. But with TikTok is like, that's the whole purpose of it, is to just kind of scroll those things. And Joe's right, like it feeds you the immodest women. It feeds you that stuff. Just better stay away from it. Let's go and get to number 9, entertainment product to avoid. The Wolf of Wall Street movie, if you don't know. This is one of those that is not a new movie, came out in the mid 2010s, I think, but this kind of movie kind of perpetually stays in the cultural discourse, you might say. A lot of people think it's one of Leonardo DiCaprio's the star, one of his best movies. It's about the stockbroker Jordan Belfort, and I think that's another reason people like it, is because it's very corporate, make a lot of money, and all those things. It is a horrendous movie. I've never seen it. Just full disclosure, Joe's never, like, we're not, but it actually made the rounds recently because they added it to Disney Plus. It came on to Disney Plus, and everybody was like, man, these 12-year-olds that are just scrolling Disney Plus are going to click on it, and it's got some bad stuff. Joe, get into like why this one makes our list. There's a lot of bad movies out there. This one is absolutely awful.
Beyond the pale. 22 sex scenes, 700 plus profanities, 525 f-bombs. It had, I think at the time, broken the record until Uncut Gems broke it for the most profane or profanity-laced movie ever. Horrible. Like, okay, so if it's not the greed and the underlying, like, okay, cheating the government and all this stuff, I've never seen the movie, but from what I know about it, of him, I think cheating the government, I think he went to prison, I think.
Illegal activity.
Okay, so not great themes.
Well, there's drug use.
Drug use, and then you get into the 700 plus profanities. Then you get in
Margot Robbie. That was kind of her coming out party, and that's what that movie's known for, is that Margot Robbie is literally naked on the screen. Like, so that's
why in the world would any guy go anywhere close to this that's trying to be? And I've talked with Christians like, oh yeah, I saw that movie. Like
what?
Why in the world would you see this movie? Like, if you saw it cleaned up, let's say you did VidAngel, the Clear Player, whatever else, it'd be like 2 minutes long. So there's no reason to watch this in any way. The underlying theme, all of the content issues. The Wolf of Wall Street is horrendous. So yes, we put it on here for a reason, which is it's included on some of the best movies of all time list type of thing. IMDb, you said, had it in its top 50 or top 70 or somewhere around there of all time. Avoid that.
Don't watch that movie. Don't watch the movie.
Number 8. And this goes along with your point on what's on Disney Plus these days, I suppose. Current Disney products. Will, why'd you put current Disney products?
Yeah, this one's probably the least serious of it. And I put this one on here because, first of all, the products that Disney is putting out right now are just terrible. Like, you can just like Snow White. It's kind of the joke of the year as far as a movie goes. But like, I think the reason and this one again is the least here. Like, if you're going to choose between watching the current live action remakes of Disney versus watching Wolf of Wall Street, please watch the live action remakes of Disney. But I put this one on here just because their ideology is so opposed to Christianity in general. Woke LGBTQ, like rebelling from parents and things like that, that we're just we're out on Disney Plus, out on the Disney movies and Disney shows. Disney as a company. Again, just hear us when we say like this one is not near as serious as the other ones. But I put this one on here because like, yeah, I don't think Christians should be supporting the ideologies, the agendas that they're pushing. And I know allegedly they're trying to scale some of that back and go back to creating, actually good movies and good products. But it's just to add on to it, they're just not good entertainment. They're not good cinematic films. They're not good entertainment products. It's just not good product.
So I had that Wish movie that came out.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe a couple years ago. And the theme is this young girl, they're in this village, and the white male, old white male, grants all these wishes and wouldn't grant certain wishes. And this little girl thinks that everybody should grant the wishes, and literally gets a goat that comes as a shooting star, comes down, a goat that ends up helping her be able to grant everybody's wishes. Okay, well, it's not very hard to see what's going on there. God is this male figure that will not grant everybody's wishes, and he's just this old...
Mean, oppressive God, yeah.
And a goat as a falling star. Really? Like, that's what you decided to go...
An allusion to Satan,
An
yeah.
allusion to Satan, Baphomet, whatever you want to say. Yeah, an allusion to Satan, very clearly, in my opinion, helping this young girl give everybody their wishes. Like, this is the garbage that Disney's putting out. So subliminal messaging-wise,
Yeah.
it's a disaster. Yes, this is the least serious, but we still think... And avoid it because we are firmly, as you said, on the boycott train. Join the boycott with us. Bring Disney to its knees and help them realize, like, your movies are garbage, and we're sick of the woke garbage.
Yeah.
The woke junk, so get it out of there. Number 7, reality dating shows. Somehow... Netflix continues to put one up like per day, it seems like.
Temptation Island, Too Hot to Handle, Love is Blind was big there for a bit, which I don't think that one's quite as bad.
Not near as bad, but there's still immodesty in there. There's still the sleeping around, things like that.
Temptation Island, like I've never watched any of these, but like you'll see the tagline. It's like essentially these people are like supposed to they're with somebody already, either married, I'm not sure, engaged, whatever, and the whole purpose of the show is that they're going to be paired with another person of the opposite gender, and the whole goal is to like not fall to temptation, not sleep with the person. Like, what do you think is going to happen on that show? Again, Too Hot to Handle, you just don't look at it, but like the cover image, obviously The Bachelor and Bachelorette is one of those things. Like, it's just, these are things that I would, and full disclosure, me and Rachel used to watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette 5-6 years ago when we first got married as entertainment, and I'm glad we stopped, because it is just one of those things that is not, it's not healthy for godly young men to, or anybody, but for godly young men specifically, to be watching. I haven't watched the new stuff, all this stuff that's on here I've never seen, but just judging based off of the, again, kind of cover images on Netflix and stuff, we got no business watching that stuff.
Well, and here's the thing. You're probably not going to pick up the Netflix remote or pick up the TV remote, get on Netflix, and watch these things on your own. Your girlfriend, your wife, somebody like that might. This is where, as a godly young man, you step in and go, no, I don't think so. We're not watching that. We're not bringing that into this house. I don't think that's good for you, because it gives them bad ideas, right? It can lead to temptation. Even we act like women aren't sexual beings, or like they don't fall to temptation. It's not good for them to be ingesting this stuff, or even putting some of the themes in their mind of the sleeping around and such. Not good. So reality dating shows, though that may not be the first thing you click on, avoid those like the plague. I don't think there's
not typically a godly young man frequent thing, but hey, people do watch it with their significant other. Again, I used to of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, and so yeah, I'm glad you made that point. Like, stand up for that. Joe Gisson, number 6.
Yeah, number 6 is raunchy animation. This is going to be South Park, Family Guy, American Dad. There's BoJack Horseman. A lot of those that are just
crude, and
they're crude. That's probably the best word for it. It's crude, the coarse jesting, and it might say a lot of sexual, a lot of racist jokes, a lot of things like that. That
a lot of those clips go around on social media mostly, but people do just sit and watch the show too.
Right, exactly. And the clips, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have not laughed at a family before, or something along those lines. Like, yes, occasionally I will see a clip that does make me laugh. By and large, if you're ingesting this stuff consistently and you're watching every South Park episode, probably not. You can maybe add The Simpsons. Simpsons aren't near as bad. They're not near as raunchy. There are definitely sexual jokes, definitely some raunchiness to The Simpsons. I don't think it's on the level of a South Park or a Family Guy. But once again, it's more of the consistent ingesting of this. If you see a clip going around, that's one thing. If you're sitting down, as you said, and watching hours of content, what does that put in your mind? I really don't think you want that there.
Well, the other thing is, like, 22-year-old man watching, just absolutely binging Family Guy, like, that, how do you view yourself as a guy if you're doing it? You know what I mean? Yeah, like, self-evaluate for just a second. There's a lot better ways to be spending your time. All right, number 5, I put this one on here, of entertainment products to avoid. Any female rapper is what I put on here. Just avoid Cardi B, Sexy Red, Megan Thee Stallion. Those probably are not even the top ones right now. I don't even know who they are. But like, and you might say, why didn't you just put rap on there? I've looked up the lyrics of some of the some of those 3. Like, if they have a top song or whatever, I won't list it, but I'll look up the lyrics. They literally only know how to produce one type of song, and it is sexually, not even sexually charged, like just sexually drenched, perverse, just awful stuff. I mean, you see the stuff that Cardi B sings, and the the Grammy performances and all these things. Like, I'm not trying to be sexist here at all. Obviously, a lot of male rap is horrific as well. But, like, specifically as a musical genre, female rappers, again, it's like they only know how to sing about one thing. And it is just, it's really bad. If you're a godly young man and you have Megan Thee Stallion downloaded on your phone, like, what are we doing here?
It used to just be Nicki Minaj, and you could kind of drown her out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
the
her.
only ones. She was really, really annoying, but she was like, okay, she's one of the only ones. You know, you had Beyonce, but she's not rap. Like, I'd avoid her too, but at the same time, she comes on the scene, Nicki Minaj, kind of disgusting, vulgar, okay.
These new ones are another level.
And then boom, 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 boom. All these new ones are another level, and there's like a bazillion and one out there. Just exploded all of a sudden, and I think with OnlyFans and the rise of some of that stuff, Pornhub and everything else, if you watch, which I don't, but if you see any of these, because you see like little clips here or there, especially on Spotify that they try to show you, of like, any of the little clips of their music videos, horrific.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely horrendous. Just terrible. Avoid those like the plague. So be careful on the top 50 on Spotify. Like, you'll see that where the next song comes on, like, what is this on the top 50? And you look down like, whoa, you know. You get off that immediately. Be very careful, even on doing things like that. And I'm just going to say, we're sparing you from really garbage music. Like,
Yeah, it's really bad. That's a great point.
Female rappers, just not good music in the least. So, not even from a clean standpoint. They're filthy and it's disgusting. The music
Is bad.
is bad.
Yeah,
It just stinks.
that's really good.
It's bad. And I added on here, like, be very careful with explicit rap in general. This is kind of an add-on. Female rappers are number 5.
Most rap is bad.
Most rap is not good. You can get into NF and some of the clean ones for sure, but be very careful on some of that, because it's one thing, okay, well, I got the clean version. It takes out the cuss words. Is it taking out all of the other themes? And you may think that that's harmless and whatnot. If you are ingesting nothing but themes of sexuality, themes of, once again, money, greed, all this type of stuff, I'm all for making money. But man, after talking about 50 racks and everything else bazillion times over, we get the point. And all the guns and the gang culture, maybe don't ingest that on a consistent basis. Get
number 4, I'm going to go ahead and get us into our first TV show that we have on our list. We'll come back to the one I have above there, Joe. But number 4, Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones is not nearly as popular, or at least it's not nearly in the cultural zeitgeist right now as it used to be. However, it is on every like top 10 TV shows of all time list. Like, and there for a while, man, that was what everybody was talking about, was Game of Thrones. I have never watched it, but from the stuff that I've read about it, just like orgy scenes and full nudity and stuff, like
it's just porn with a little bit of Lord of the Rings, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's literally porn on your TV screen. And so this is one of those, like, listen, a lot of shows might have sexual content or, you know, things that are not good to be watching. And then there's shows like this that, in my opinion, and one that we're going to get to at our number 1, that just takes it to like a completely different stratosphere. Like, again, you might be able to VidAngel or filter out some shows that like might maybe have a scene or two here and there, and, you know, is what it is for those. But for stuff like Game of Thrones, where it's like that's kind of the main reason that people watch it, and you know, I'm sure there's good drama and all that too, but like this is one to just stay away from.
Yeah, because then you also get into, my understanding is, and I could be off because once again I've never seen it either, but like certain plot points are missed. If you skip out sex scenes, you might miss a plot point that actually matters, and so that's one of the worst times. Is it's so integral to the story that it's not just gratuitous, which it is, but like you can't even skip over the scenes without missing big parts of the show. Then why are you watching a show like that? What is the reason why you would bring that onto your TV screen and pipe it in your...
And there are Christians that watch the show too.
Oh, big time. Well, it's just, you know, it's a great storyline, and wow, the arc of the characters.
I watch it for the plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Don't sit here and you know, cheat. Like, come on. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to me. Number 3 is our second app on here, which is Snapchat. Full disclosure, also, when we talk about godly men, we don't use these things. That's why we do avoid these things.
I did for a while. I did use Snapchat for a while. I got it when I was 18.
I was going to say, I thought you did on this one. I have avoided Snapchat, so I can't speak fully to... All I know is almost every person I know that has used Snapchat, I know that you fall into this, but almost every person I know, they have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and it's under suspicious circumstances that they downloaded the app, and they talk to their significant
on
other through the app,
Snapchat.
rather than through messages, rather than through any other thing, Facebook messages, or, you know, again, iMessage, or any of those things. They talk to Snapchat. Why would
you do that?
When things get deleted in 7 seconds, like pictures and such. I think is still the thing, correct? That it's still.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't use it anymore. So I got Snapchat when I was 18, and the only reason I did is because all my friends had it. I had wanted Snapchat for 3 or 4 years. My parents very smartly said, "No, you're not getting Snapchat." Well, I turned 18, downloaded it because like I want to be a part. I was 18 and dumb. I wanted to be a part of what everybody else was doing. And I haven't used it really since I got married. I was like, okay, there's not really a point to it. I need to mature here. But as I've kind of gone back and reflected and think about it, like would I let my son or daughter do it? Like there's really one purpose for Snapchat. There is one purpose for it, and it's to send dirty pictures, send dirty messages that get deleted. Like all the features that Snapchat has, you can do without using Snapchat. The reason, and I think this is something I don't hear a lot about Snapchat anymore, but people do still have it. People do still use it. Keeping your streaks alive was a big thing when I was a teenager. I realize I might be dating ourselves a bit here, but Snapchat almost, to me, even more than TikTok, because again, literally Snapchat is for one purpose, and that is to send sexual pictures, sexual messages. Without, and the other thing that was bad about Snapchat when I was growing up was, man, guys would talk to 15, 20 different girls all just with Snapchat. And it was just a kind of immature, poor way to communicate. Again, you kind of were playing the field through Snapchat. It's just, I'm not a fan of it. Again, you're probably not as passionate about this one as I am, but I don't really see the point in having Snapchat if it's not going to be to send dirty pictures, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. So
yeah, no, I think that's good. Number 2 is one that's going around. I haven't been super familiar with it, other than the fact that it continues to hit my feed somewhere. Like
me as well.
Everybody seems to be talking about The White Lotus. I don't know.
HBO show, right? HBO Max,
I think it's season 3. I haven't even heard of it in seasons 1 and 2, and all of a sudden season 3 seems to be huge. Maybe it was big and I was out of it.
I'd heard about it, but it's definitely in the cultural realm right now.
So you had added, and where's this from?
This is plugged in.
Okay, plugged in. The White Lotus Resort may do everything in its power to maintain its pristine image, but the series that bears the same name certainly does not. HBO's The White Lotus features sexual content and crude dialogue at almost every turn. We see graphic nudity, and profanity is frequent, along with references to drugs and alcohol. Not exactly what I want on my TV screen or on my computer screen. With the graphic nudity, I was reading Common Sense Media had full frontal for the men, full frontal for the woman. No, sex scenes, graphic sex scenes, or sexually suggestive, where it's kind of leading up to it.
Well,
avoid that as a godly.
Let me just say here, and this is where this is our podcast. We're going to share our opinion, and maybe we're going to, not be as buttoned up or formal, I guess you might say, as Think Deep or something like that. I do think there is a big difference between, both are wrong, don't mishear me, but like a movie or a show where like it might be implied, but it's not shown. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a huge difference in that. And, even like with some of the old movies like Grease and Top Gun, where it's like they kind of give you the full show here, as opposed to some other ones where it might be implied or the scene cuts or whatever. Like, I don't love those either. Don't mishear me. But to act like that's the same as a full frontal or graphic nudity is like not the same at all. That is a whole nother level of something you probably should have on your TV screen. That's why this one makes the list, honestly.
And once again, it's just in the culture. This is where you got to be very careful getting in, because you talk about Snapchat at 18. I had my fair share of those things as well. Like, you don't want to miss out. You got to see this movie, you got to see the show.
Yeah.
So your friends may be talking about things like The White Lotus. Oh man, did you catch the recent episode? Or did you catch this season 3, whatever? This is where you really are tested off of these things, these 10 things that we have. You're really tested on how much you're willing to stand under the pressure. This is not a peer pressure episode, but so much of this goes to the peer pressure of everybody's watching it, everybody's seen it. They're going to ask you about it. Deadpool is another big one where, I had a lot of friends that talked about it. Did you see this? No, I didn't. I didn't go see those movies. Horror films, I don't really get into those, and I have friends talk about that, or the newest so-and-so album. This is where you're going to be tested as a godly man the most, when everybody and their dog has Snapchat, has TikTok, is watching The White Lotus. You're seeing it on your ex. You're seeing it on, you're probably not on Facebook. You're seeing it maybe on Snapchat or other things, Instagram, and you're getting the reels. And then it starts to become a funny thing, a meme, or whatever it may be. And so you're just tempted to kind of dip your toe in the water of what's this meme all about. I'd like to see what that is. And then you get into it and you convince yourself that it's just a really good show. And so you're
it's not that bad. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. The plot is so good, and it's just really, it sucks you right in. And yeah, I know I'm having to overlook a lot of nudity, and I know I'm having to overlook a lot of profanity, but it's just, man, they've just got me.
Those shows are designed to do that too, to suck you in. Like, that's how they.
Yeah. First episode, they're going to suck you in a lot of the time, and what you'll notice is a lot of times season 1 is not all that horrendous for a lot of these shows. It's season 2 where they start introducing a ton of bad stuff.
Because they got to keep you there.
And once they got you in season 1, you got to figure out what happens. And so all the LGBTQ characters and all the nudity and all that stuff, a lot of times just ratchets up in seasons 2 and following. This next one, the number 1 on our list, started bad. It has continued bad from my understanding. This is an avoid at all costs.
Euphoria is our number 1. Also an HBO show. They're not doing great. Euphoria is where kind of pop icon Sydney Sweeney really kind of got her start. Obviously Zendaya is kind of the featured actress in Euphoria. It's a terrible show. It is worse than The White Lotus, I would say. And again, I haven't seen it, but from what I've read, it is just you can't even watch it on like filtered. Like you'd miss points. Like the show, if it's a 45-minute episode, would be 15 minutes long. Like it's just horrific stuff. I copied again from Plugged In, which is a great movie and show music review website. It says HBO with its new high school centered show Euphoria appears to be overtly, intentionally marketing extremely graphic adult content, sex, violence, profanity, and drug use to teens and preteens. He says, the writer says, but I'll add on to that. Sorry, I'm having a hard time reading that. But I'll add on to that thought. What adult watches a show about high school children having sex without feeling like a predator? And I'm not the only one thinking that. In 2022, the Parents Television and Media Council urged members of the public to sign its petition calling on HBO to stop airing the show due to its child-themed pornography. If that's not enough to say, maybe let's not watch Euphoria, I don't know what is. Like, again, it's a show about high schoolers having sex that, is that's all it's about. And there's been plenty of shows throughout the years that are kind of, about high schoolers and obviously sex is involved. Once again, this takes it to a whole nother stratosphere. Like graphic sexual content, full nudity, just drug use nonstop. Just an awful show altogether.
Right. Once again, why would we want that in our mind? Don't tell me about the plot point. Don't tell me about any of these things. You need to go to a place like pluggedin.com. I'm not a huge fan of Common Sense Media, but that can be a good one. Kids in Mind for movies. Things like that. You need to read through this. Before you just consider you're going to sit down and ingest a show, or maybe you got the HBO Max subscription, and it's got a lot of good stuff. And yeah, everybody's talking about Euphoria. Sit down, do some research, figure out, is that something that I want in my mind? Once it goes in, it does not come out. So when we talk about As Godly Young Men, yes, there are absolutely things that are a no-go. You avoid them. Well, I can take it. I'm just used to seeing things like that. Come on.
Wrong answer.
Do not lie to yourself. Don't lie to your parents. Don't lie to me and tell me that it's a great show, or tell me that you can handle it, or that men should be able to. It's not about whether men can. I can sit down and watch this. Should I?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. It's appalling. All things are lawful. Not all things are profitable. Am I allowed to sit down and watch this show? I mean,
well, this is probably not lawful either. That's the other thing. Yeah. Sorry.
Child-themed pornography. Yeah, that might not be lawful for very long. So, the other thing is, Zendaya is one of the ugliest chicks on the planet. So I don't know why you want to sit down and watch that. But anyway, sorry.
Hot take with Joe. Yeah, a lot of people disagree with that.
I don't know how, man. I don't get it. But anyway, the whole point is, you got to check yourself from time to time. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. A lot of times we think we're big men on campus. Maybe at 18, 19, 20, we feel like, well, we were always held back from our parents. Now we can start watching these things. Should you watch these things? You shouldn't need parents or even us to tell you, hey, don't go watch Game of Thrones. Like, don't go watch Euphoria. This is a bad thing. You really shouldn't need that from us. That should be something internally. So what I would suggest is, and sorry, Lionel, shut up.
No, you're good.
What I would suggest is, like, you need to develop your own internal sense of justice, or like right and wrong, basically. Like, what do I think I should put in front of my eyes? What is right for me to consume? Everybody's going to have their own standard, but I really think we can convince ourselves as young men that our standard should be like, we should allow most things. There's just a few like rated X movies we shouldn't allow. You probably need to pare that down, and that doesn't make you less of a man to say, yeah, that rated R movie, absolutely not. I'm not going to watch that. Whereas you can watch a Gladiator, rated R, and I think that's okay.
Passion of the Christ, or
there's things like that.
Is the Patriot? Is Patriot R? Wow,
so.
that's a great movie. Yeah.
Great movie. Okay, you can sit down and watch those maybe, but should you sit down and watch Euphoria?
Well,
and the answer is resoundingly no.
I'm just gonna say, like shows like Euphoria, Game of Thrones, Wolf of Wall Street, people watch them to see the pornography. Like that's why, like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a cynic here, but that's why people watch Euphoria, is to see Sydney Sweeney and Zendaya and or Zendaya, and then Game of Thrones the same. Like, that's why people watch this stuff. Wolf of Wall Street, Margot Robbie. Like, anybody trying to tell you otherwise, like, if the movie was good enough on its own, it wouldn't need to include all that stuff. And I suppose you can make an argument for Wolf of Wall Street because it's trying to predict a real, but we're not going to make that argument. Euphoria and Game of Thrones, that's why people watch it. And anybody, that's not why I watch it. Whatever. That's not the case. And it's wrong. Like, that's what we're trying to get at here, is this is not maybe a bad idea. Wrong. It's wrong. Again, some of these, the Disney products, TikTok, Snapchat, you can make an argument it's not wrong. Watching these shows is wrong. You should, it is not right for golly young men to watch these shows. Again, as we kind of pare our list down, maybe one or two of them, it's not necessarily wrong, again, to have a TikTok account. Not wrong to watch Disney Plus. This other stuff is a different level. And so that's why we kind of, again, had it, 4, 3, 2, 1 kind of in that order. But Joe, any other thoughts on those? I just wanted to make that point. Like, we were kind of silly with some of these, but stuff like this, Euphoria and Game of Thrones and even White Lotus or whatnot, like, watching that stuff for the reasons why people watch that stuff is wrong.
Godly young men run from things like this.
Yeah.
They don't even entertain them. It's not a matter of maybe yes, maybe. Run. Get as far away from things like this as possible. And tell your friends, I don't watch that trash. Like, if you come out with a strong take when somebody's telling you, oh, it's so good, you come out with a strong take and go, I don't think we should be watching that. I don't think that's good. Oh, what, they're going to...
Goody two-shoes, yeah.
Goody two-shoes, or what are you, gay, or whatever it may be. Like, absolutely not. I'm setting no worthless thing in front of my eyes. So, hold to Scripture, hold to exactly as you said, this is wrong, this is not I don't want this in my mind, I don't think that's good. Well, it's super hot. I live for more than just the base pleasures of life of, wow, something's super hot. Like, you're worth more than that. You have more value than that. We discussed those things. But, yeah, so we wanted to share this top 10 list. We had some honorable mentions that did not make it.
Not quite specific enough, yeah.
Correct. Music videos. Avoid music videos, man. You got Tate McRae and Sabrina Carpenter and things like that. Avoid them. Just don't go anywhere near them. Be careful on the Spotify where it shows you just a little small clip. Even that could be terrible, so avoid those things. Sexual music in general, especially LGBTQ music. Billie Eilish and Chappell Roan, two huge names. Terrible. Troye Sivan, we were talking. Troye Sivan and what's his name?
Sam Smith.
Sam Smith, yep. Lil Nas X. All of the LGBTQ where they're talking about, guys, man, avoid that stuff. That's not good. What else we got?
Yeah, so we have on here, so we already kind of talked about TikTok, but like following certain people on Instagram, following certain people on TikTok, where again, you follow them for one reason and one reason alone. That's because they post a lot of swimsuit pictures, like
the Kardashians and things like that.
Yeah, Kendall Jenner and then Olivia Dunn and people like that. Like, just avoid that. And then
and this last one, I hate to put this last because this is insignificant, but we also realize neither Will nor I, or hell, I don't think we've ever visited Twitch.
Twitch, yeah.
But I also know it's huge. Like, it's absolutely huge. I know guys that do, a lot of young men that they get on Twitch. Be very careful on the Twitch streams as well. That's an honorable mention. No, it doesn't make our top 10, but it's just things that don't say that in front of your eyes. Don't follow the Twitch accounts where they're, these girls in these immodest anime costumes and things like that. No, we avoid those things. Those that are again, the raunchy, even the PewDiePies and guys like that on the YouTube where they're raunchy and they're cussing right and left and things like that. I'm not against hearing cussing sparingly, I suppose, but man, you really got, especially as a younger man, I try to avoid cussing as much as possible because once it goes in, man, you're a lot more tempted to use it. And all of the coarse jokes and things like that. Be very careful on that. So those are our honorable mentions.
If we miss one, if there's one that you're like, man, how did that not make the list? Let us know. To be fully transparent, we kind of struggled making we wanted a list that was specific. We didn't just want to put like bad TV shows. Like, no, we need some specific stuff on here. And so if there's one that you feel like absolutely had to make the list, if you're a part of the Discord, send it in the episode chat group there. Comment on YouTube. Let us know. This is one of those episodes. It's kind of fun for us to do. We like the top 10 list, but yeah, obviously, again, we love entertainment. I'm a big fan of entertainment. I like watching shows, like watching movies, like listening to music. Certain things we just got to say no to. So I guess that's all we have. You want to wrap right there? And episode 118.
Man, episode 118. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.